Hey guys, this is Ashley from Veterans Upward Bound. I am just popping on to give you guys a little kind of walkthrough of Zoom. So we're going to go through learning how to create an account, how to hold a meeting, attend a meeting, and we'll touch on a little bit of the extras as well. So this is the home page for Zoom when you go on there. This is the link. So you do have the www.zoom.us. Now, if you just go into Google and you type in Zoom or zoom.com, it does take you to this website as well. So all you have to do is start by clicking on the sign up button. Sign up button is free. On the page up in the corner on the right side, the little orange button. So it pops right out for you. And there you go. I even circled it for you. And made it bounce. I guess I did it a couple times. The next part you're going to have is here where you put your date of birth. Pretty simple. And then you'll hit continue. Well, I guess I even put it on there. Add your birthday. The next part you have here is you have two ways of signing up for Zoom. So you have your where it says sign up for your work email address right there. It does say work email, but it can be just a personal email. I went through this a couple of times and I signed up with my work email. My personal email. Our ASU emails, I don't think you can use that to sign up for it here. I know for me and our staff, since we already have a Zoom account, it wouldn't let me sign up for one, but I did just use my personal email. So it was pretty simple. You can also sign in with your Google account or Facebook account. Now, what it means by SSO is it means like a company or a school that already pays for your account. So when I log into this, I would click on like the SSO and I just log in through my ASU account because of the fact that ASU already pays for me to have an account since I'm considered a staff member. And then the next page, it will have you signing up on behalf of a school. Now, if you're signing up for this one and you do not have one before, then you're going to click no, because this is not for us. You're not signing up for us. You're signing up for yourself to have an account. So this would not be on behalf of a school, because it does go in there and you don't want the school to be in charge of your account. This is going to be your own personal account, so you can do with it what you want. It is free, and that way you can do a Zoom with like family members. You can do a Zoom with friends. I've done a Zoom with some other coordinators, and we had like a little happy hour where we just kind of talked on about anything and everything. It was after hours, so it was like 5, but it was pretty neat, and we were able to use our accounts. This will be the next page that you come on, and it just has you welcome to Zoom, and it has you putting in your information. As you can see, this is one of the ones where I used, I have a little small business, and that's where we used it. I used my email to kind of try and make a new Zoom account. So I just put in my information, and then you create a password. It does have the necessary things that you have to have a password. So you need at least 8 characters, pretty standard. 1 letter, makes sense. At least 1 number, and then it needs to include uppercase and lowercase characters. So this will be that next page that you see. And then you add your name and create a password. This is the next page that you come across. Going back a few slides, once you put in your email, it does send you a confirmation, so you do have to go into your email and hit the link that it sends you to confirm that email. So, and then once you kind of go through that and then go through those steps that we just went through, it does have the testing, it has a test meeting, so you can click into that and it kind of will show you what would pop up when you have a normal meeting. So you can just hit that orange button of start that meeting. This is what pops up when you hit start that meeting. This is just the test meeting, and it gives you like up here it says Ashley Marshall's personal meeting room. And then it has the host, which is me. It has a password. So this is a password if I would require a password when I open this room or send out the link. And then it has a numeric password, and that is if you're dialing in from a phone, whereas you only have the numeric on your keypad. And so that would be the password if you were logging in just through a phone, because on Zoom you can log in through a computer or a phone where it shows your video, or it shows so that you can log into that, or you can log in through a phone. So you can call in and it just pops up with your phone number and then you can actually just speak. So there'll be no video for that if you log in as a dialing number, not if you were logged in through your smartphone where with the computer screen type thing. The next part is that invitation URL, and that is where it even has like the little copy URL underneath it. And that is just for like if you want to share it and you want to invite people in. So if you were doing it with family or with friends, you would copy that URL exactly like it is, and then you would send it out. And then if you required a password, then you would send out the password with it as well. And then the participant ID. So everybody gets a participant ID. Next, you can join with audio. So it does allow you to choose the different audios that you would join in with. If you're using headphones, if you're using your computer audio, that type of thing. You can share your screen and then it has that invite others. This is the bottom. If you're, I was only in there by myself. So if you're in there with more than one person, more things pop up on your little toolbar down here. But the necessary ones that you have here is the unmute and mute yourself. So like if I had a phone call and I need to take a phone call, then I don't have to leave the meeting. I just mute myself so that I can take that phone call. Then you have the video and the non-video. Makes sense. Turn your video off and then turn it back on when you're there. Or if you haven't done your hair today. Then the next part, I kind of skipped over the security, we'll come back to that, is the manage participants. So these are just the amount of participants in the meeting. If you click on it, it'll bring up a whole list of those participants. And if you are the host, then you can kind of send people out. You can actually like kick them out, or you can send them to a waiting room. You get a little bit more freedom when you are the host. You can mute people if you're the host, that type of thing. So it's pretty neat if you're in charge. The security allows you to lock the room, which means people can't come in. People can leave, but they can't come in. And it also has the waiting room. So if you require a waiting room before you go into a meeting, then you will be allowed to have allow the people in. You can also send people back to the waiting room if they're doing something that you might not necessarily want going on in the room. I know for my son, he's 6 years old and in first grade, and he does Zoom meetings with his teacher. And if there's somebody being disruptive, then the teacher can send that student back to the waiting room to kind of sit it out and leave the meeting to get a little time to kind of compose themselves to come back in. So I think that's a pretty neat feature. Share screens is one of my favorite features. You can share your screen. And then when it comes up, you can actually choose what screen you want to share. So if it's actually like so you can, I'm trying to think of what it was, like your internet screen, there you go. You can share your internet screen, you can share just your desktop, you can choose to share a whiteboard, an interactive whiteboard, which is pretty neat. So if you're doing tutoring or something, you have that access, and you can actually allow other people to be drawing on it at the same time, which is, again, really cool feature. So that share screen, you can also do it to where only the host can share. You can allow other people to share their screens, but then again, that host, you can also make it to where the host can share their screen even if somebody else is sharing their screen. So the host kind of has all the power in the room. The chat, so the chat feature is a pretty neat feature, is you can, let's say your audio is not working, you can't talk, so you can actually chat to the entire room, send information throughout that, and it pops up when somebody has sent a chat, it'll pop up and say like there's a chat waiting that you haven't seen. Or within chat, you can also send it to one person individually. So if there's only one person in the meeting that maybe you don't have their email address and you need their email address, you can chat just to that one person and only they will be able to see it and get whatever information that you might need. And then the record the meeting. So if you are, only if you're a host or a co-host can you record the meeting. If the host gives that permission. And so it's a pretty neat feature. And then if you are the host and you are recording it, it does, when you go back into your screen, well, I'll kind of show it to you, you'll be able to, it'll store it there. And you can actually choose whether to store it on that computer that you're using, or you can store it in the cloud through your Zoom. So you get a couple of choices. So this is just an example of having a meeting, obviously. Another kind of cool feature is if you can look at mine and Dante's, our other coordinator, we have the backgrounds. So you're able to put virtual backgrounds on. Now, I have a little bit of difficulty doing that on my Mac computer, but on my Windows computer, it's very simple. And most of the time for these backgrounds, you can actually just Google them, like funny Zoom backgrounds. I do want to advise you want to make sure they're appropriate, especially for like whatever group you're in. And if you're doing something professional, make sure it's a professional background. That's just my own opinion. I have seen some kind of funny ones out there that might not necessarily be the most professional when you're in a professional setting. So it does give that first impression. So just to be aware. These we were just kind of playing around. Obviously, you have the Dodger Stadium behind Dante. And I was kind of playing around with them, and those are kind of like prison bars. So there's a bunch of different cool ones out there. I think most of mine were like of The Office, where you're the one being interviewed type thing. So I have my favorites. So that was just another kind of cool feature. And again, we can kind of show you going through that. That's a pretty neat little thing that you can add. So once you get and join in Zoom, this is your dashboard. So this is what you will see. So off to you have on the left, on my screen it's on the left, is you have your like profile, which is what this is. This is my profile. So I have my personal ID. You have your own personal meeting room. And then I have my email address, and then you have like your meeting capacity. So my capacity for any kind of meeting right now, this is set through ASU, is 300, which would be pretty cool to have a meeting of 300. That off to the left is where most of your settings are going to be going through. This is what we're going to use the most. So you have your profile, your meetings, webinars, which I don't have access to because it's not part of the what ASU is paid for, and that does cost a little bit. It does cost money. Personal audio conference recordings, where I store all of mine on the cloud through this because I don't want them on my computer. So they're all there. Settings, account profile, and reports. So you can have access to all those. You can kind of click through and play around with it. You also have, which I think is really cool that Zoom does, is they have live trainings. So right below on your right hand side, and you have video tutorials and the knowledge base. So if you want more than what I'm showing you, or you're looking into actually paying for a plan, which they do, then I would go to attend those live trainings or be involved in those video tutorials. So that's something that I still am going through as well to learn how to do all this stuff. So like the virtual backgrounds, I wanted to know how to do that. So I went and attended some live trainings and some video tutorials. So those are there for you. This is the meetings tab. So this is where most of your interaction is going to be. This is where mine is. For my group, I have set up daily staff meetings that we have every day. Obviously, you can see that. And then we also have a all VUB staff and student meeting as well every Friday. You can also kind of see a little bit farther down there. I have coordinator office hours that are reoccurring, and all of these are reoccurring. So I went into my schedule a meeting and I set these up to reoccur certain times and days. So that's the button you're going to push when you want to schedule something. So family meeting or a friend happy hour or something like that. That's what you're going to push first. And then off to the side, you have all these are the meeting IDs for each individual one. As you can see, if they're reoccurring, they tend to stay the same. You also have a personal meeting room. So you can schedule a meeting and have that kind of generated, but you also have a personal meeting room. So if you want to send that one out to friends or family or something like that, you can get that as well. The next one, this is when I have selected I want to schedule a meeting. So this is the page that will pop up. So you have your topic where you just name your meeting. Then you can add in a description. You don't have to. Again, it says underneath it optional. And then you want to make sure you are particular about the day. So it's going to auto generate for the day that you are on right now. So it'll automatically, yesterday the 15th was when I took a screenshot of this, and that's when it was automatically auto generated for that. And then you pick your time, and obviously AM or PM, make sure you get that right. Duration. So for a free account, I believe you can only hold one up to 40 minutes unless you pay for it. but you can have multiple ones, so you can keep scheduling them. So it's just each one can only be a total of 40 minutes on the free plan. Because ours is paid for through ASU, it's a little bit, we can have it for a little bit more hours. Time zone, we're in Arizona, so you want to do what time zone you're in, because if somebody from a different time zone that gets your link and it's going to be added to your room, it'll adjust to their time zone. So this is going to be coming from my time zone if I send it out to anybody else, especially if they're in different time zones. You click the reoccurring meeting if that's what you want to do. Registration is required. That means they have to go through and pick and create an account. So I never really click that, because if they don't have an account, I want them to still be able to click the link and get added into our meeting. So next part is, we just went through the registration. Meeting ID generate automatically, or your personal meeting room. So this is your personal, so you can give them out just your personal meeting, or generate automatically. I usually have it just generate automatically because I don't want it to use my personal meeting room. That's just a preference. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Meeting password. So the ones I've set up do not require password right now. That can obviously change. I know a lot of people have been having problems with people popping into their Zoom meetings. So you might want to require a password. If you do, I mean, make it easy for you to remember and for somebody else to remember, or type in. I mean, it's completely up to you. That's a complete personal preference. The next one is the video. So I go through this every time, and a lot of them are the same, but some of them I kind of change depending on who I'm going to be talking to. So video, host and participant, I usually put those on, or you can have them off. This is just for when they come into the meeting room. Do you want them to automatically have their videos off and they have to personally turn them on? Or would you rather them be on automatically and they have to request to turn them off? So that's your personal preference. Usually I leave mine on, because when I log on, I already know, like, hey, I'm ready, let's go. But you can leave the participants off just in case they're not quite ready or they don't want to have their camera on. That's your choice. And then you have the audio on the bottom, which is telephone, computer audio, or both. I usually have it on both, just because, again, they can choose which audio they want to use. Because for me, it doesn't really matter. And then this is the very bottom of it before you save the meeting. So these are your meeting options. Enable join before host. So I usually leave that on because, I mean, if they want to jump on before I get in there, that's fine. Now, mute all participants on entry. I usually click on that because I don't want a lot of like different noises coming from a bunch of different places. So I automatically mute them when they come in, and then they can unmute themselves automatically. Enable waiting room. So I usually don't have a waiting room right now, just because I want them to just drop in, but you can. Like my son, for his classes and the teachers, they usually have that waiting room. So people can't join the actual like Zoom meeting without the host. So this just puts them in a room and it shows you like all these people are currently waiting to be allowed into the room. And then you kind of have that power to allow them in. Only authenticated users can join. I usually don't click that one. And record the meeting automatically. If I'm working with any kind of students or any kind of one-on-one, I usually hit that automatically. I do click that, so it automatically starts recording as soon as I go into the Zoom meeting. For our staff meetings, we don't have those recorded because we don't really need to. And then, I mean, it's, again, personal choice. And then last is you have the alternative hosts. Now, to add a person as an alternative host, they have to have a Zoom account. You can't just add somebody that doesn't have an account yet. They have to have an account, and you have to add the email that they used for creating that account. So for me and for the rest of our staff, anytime I make any kind of Zoom meetings, I usually add them as an alternate host, and that gives them the power of pretty much anything a host can do. Adding, sharing screens, muting people, all those kind of little things. And then you just hit save. And then it pops up with this. So everything's kind of saved. It shows you what their topic name is, the description, the times. If it's reoccurring, it shows you all those. And you can even click show all the occurrences, and it'll show you every single day that you have marked. It shows your meeting ID, your URL, the link that you can put into emails. And then it shows you all the things that you've applied. And then what I really like the most is it gives you the options of sharing the calendar invite. So for staff, we use Outlook. So I do share the Outlook invite with everybody. I can also do a Google Calendar, and it kind of adapts to whatever calendar you're using. Or you can just hit copy the invitation and just send that out. So any of those work. But I think it's pretty neat the way they have it set up. So it's one of my favorite things. So those are what I wanted to focus on, and then the URL. If you don't have a password, or if you do even have a password, then when you copy the invitation and you send that out, it sends you with the link that's clickable. So people, if you don't have a password, or if you don't require a password, then they can just click on the link and just get right into the meeting. They don't have to create an account or anything like that. And then if you have a password, it just pops up with enter your password. Now it's pretty neat. If you have Zoom downloaded onto your computer, which is really quick, then it will just, it'll ask to open up that program, that Zoom program. If you don't have Zoom, then it'll ask to open up just another little tab in your browser, and it'll just pop up with that, and you can just use the browser tab. So it's pretty neat, very user friendly. If you have any more questions, I tried to make this short and sweet, and I do know I'm about 20 minutes in, but if you have any more questions about Zoom, don't hesitate to pop into coordinator hours, or just email me, or give me a call, or the office a call, and we will more than welcome to help you out and show you kind of all the, maybe there's little extras that you want to know, but very, very simple, and I hope that this helped you. So see you next time.